is a story I know will help inspire you to take the leap and either quit your job or motivate you to take your passion to a full-time income that you never thought was possible. Or if you already are a business owner and cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel, this is for you. This is also for you if you don't have a background in business but have aspirations of building a legacy for you and your family. Let's start from the beginning. This is Libby from Libby's Boutique. What's interesting here is that she was my 8th grade English teacher, and after she had retired, she thought she was going to spend most of her time with her grandkids, but as most people realize, there's a lot of extra time. So she decided that she wanted to start a boutique, mostly because her mom had inspired her and said, "You've always been interested in clothes, why don't you start a boutique?" This started inside of another salon, I would say, a very low risk opportunity, right? If people came in to the salon, they could buy some clothes from her, and it worked out really nice while they were getting their hair done. Then the boutique started to grow, and she actually heard from another friend, because it's a small town, that I was doing social media. However, I was down in Dallas at the time. We got on a phone call and she said, "Hey, I don't know what social media is. I don't know exactly how to use it. Can you help me?" Sure. At the time, I was just doing social media management, a little bit of ads, and just helped her to establish her brand. I also told her that she should be pushing to grow a social media following, even though most of her customers were brick and mortar and they were mostly showing up. This was just about building the brand, and it was actually just a very small aspect. But in 2016, we pushed her to start a website and to go all in on video, build a business online so they could go outside of the town that was 3,000, 4,000 people. Some of them did drive, but you're talking about a very small group of people in this 3,000 person town. In 2017, she decided to move on because her boutique had basically grown at the seams, and she moved to a bigger location in an adjacent town that had about 10,000 people. In 2018, she moved into her own building across the street in a much bigger location and was still growing at the seams. At this point, we had started to really grow the online business, and so she decided, and her daughter decided, to take the leap. So in 2018, 2019, she helped her daughter quit her job to go full on into the business to not only support her, but to now support her family and other employees, and this was now becoming a real business that was actually much larger than they ever expected. What's interesting about this business is that she never thought that the online business could surpass the brick and mortar. However, in 2022, the online business had completely surpassed the brick and mortar, and so in 2022, they decided to leave the brick and mortar and work on online only, completely shutting their doors. The local community was actually completely taken back, but it was taking a lot of time, and it was also very wearing and very time consuming for them to try to keep the brick and mortar afloat or really open at all the times that they needed to do it. So in 2023, they completely moved out of that space that they had purchased that was much bigger. They sold it, downsized, moved back to their hometown, farther away, and only focused online. I'm going to tell you throughout this whole video how this transition can help you in your business and really how you can grow your brand online and not have to be dependent on the brick and mortar or the pop-ups or all of those other things. If you are one of those people, that's completely fine. I'm not saying not to do them. I'm just saying you have options out there where online can work for you, even if you are in a small community, have 2,000, 3,000, 10,000, 20,000 people. You don't have to be in the big city to grow a big brand anymore. Okay, so now that you have an idea of the timeline, I want to get into the details that made this boutique successful, because there are some key steps here that made this brand, this boutique work. Because most people who started in a town of 3,000 people could not grow it to this level. They could not make the online store work in the way that it did. And there's some very key steps here that you should pay attention to that I think any brand can get out of. Whether you're trying to do your first $1,000 month, $10,000 a month, or $1 million month, it doesn't matter. These principles are going to help you grow your business. All right, so number 4 is to niche down. If you're not familiar with the boutique world, this type of business has been booming. There are about 200,000 boutiques in the United States alone, so quite a bit, right? So she niched down by the type of woman she was going to serve and brought the clothes for these women. Her slogan phrase that she used to use a lot is bringing the city to the country. The boutique served rural communities who wanted to look great. To some, this may have been niche down, or it should have been enough to work. But you have to remember that she was retired and didn't really care what other people thought. So she actually niched down even more than that. She wanted to serve her audience in a way that she only could. She never shied away from her faith, political beliefs, or her true mission, and that is what created diehard fans. And when I say diehard, I mean like literally diehard fans. Or as Pat Flynn would say, and check out this book, it's called Super Fans, of Creating Super Fans. I highly suggest invested, no affiliation, but she created superfans. She also had a very big heart and constantly giving back to her community. I think that was something that was admirable that a lot of people gravitated to. I really think that's what drew them in. Mondays were, and everybody knew who followed her online, were Mission Monday. Monday, a percentage of her profits went to help those in need, but niching down is only part of the picture here, right? So she decided to do all of these things that helped her to carve out who her ideal customer is. Because if she didn't ever create a brand, no one would have known about her, no matter how much she niched down, which is what I want to share with you next. Number 3 is time with customers. More importantly, this could just say video. Most people think that you need to be in front of a customer 7 to 10 times before they make a buying decision. Most cases, that is true. That is the law of averages. I don't think that's the case because you can see something 100 times, and if you don't resonate with the brand or need to buy it, you won't buy. It's all about the right time for that market. However, I do think what matters most is the time with that brand. For example, Libby has been using video to talk to her customers for going on almost 10 years now. Wow, that kind of sounds crazy to say out loud, but it's true. Now, there was a ton of convincing back then to get her in front of video, and I'm sure she still doesn't like it to this day, but it's helped her grow like crazy and create brand recognition. When you can spend hours watching someone and picking up on their mannerisms, their stories about their family, etc., all of this starts to build trust, and this trust is what will get customers to actually buy from you. Even if they're a stranger, they will feel like they know you. It's possible to build a brand by posting photos, heck, even stock photos, but it will be way harder than if you show up on stories, short videos, and live videos each and every day showing up for your customers to build a brand. Even this level of interaction won't grow your brand to 7 figures on its own though. But paired with this next tool, it is more than possible. So I just want to recap real quickly. We're talking about niching down, and then we're talking about the brand building or time in front of your customers. This next piece puts it all together here. Number 2 is invested in advertising. This was probably one of the harder parts for us to get over to Libby, because if you've grown your brand organically the whole time, I still have these conversations today where people have grown really successful brands without advertising, and then you tell them they have to spend money. They look at the gap between profit because there is a ton of profit on organic. However, the scalability is a lot harder. So we talked her into it, or I would say have several conversations about it. But in the advertising world, I consider advertising to be like the gasoline to the fire here. Now please hear me, running ads is not the end all be all. I will tell you that. Most of y'all believe that running ads will fix your business, and it will not. Libby's boutique grew with a very small budget per day, but it was enough. We went all in on exploiting what was working for her brand, which were the things I just mentioned. Niching down, creating a brand, and then we ran ads behind that. That was the important part here. There were 2 main campaigns that we scaled this brand with. Number 1 was focused around collections and collection types of ad placement. So we'll pull up a graphic here of what a collection type ad looks like. But basically it's an image or video and then several products down below. And in the boutique world, a lot of times people have issues with stock. They can't buy super deep, and even if they buy super deep, they may not have a ton of variety. So it's kind of a catch-22. But with a collection ad, you can talk about a hero product, for example, game day collection, Christmas collection, your summer collection, whatever it is, and then below that could be all the products that are dynamically updated based off of what is actually in stock. So we scaled through that. We used to do what's called collection videos. They were 15, 30-second videos. They were showcasing a lot of these products. We did video a lot because if the image showed something and then somebody couldn't buy from it, they were kind of upset. So we did videos showcasing several different types of products. And then the products were dynamically updated down below, and we ran that for months. Facebook loves when you run that for months too. So that was the first type of campaign we did, and we scaled. And the second one was DCT, or dynamic creative ads. But this dynamic creative ad, this is, I mean, there's probably a ton of different videos we have about dynamic creative ads, but in general, it takes the best combinations of images and videos and text, puts them all together, and then Facebook creates the best ad for you. And then that allowed us to scale up as well. So we only scaled up our winning ads at that point. Those 2 types of campaigns were what allowed us to scale this brand to the absolute next level. And when I say next level, it allowed us to grow the business outside of the brick and mortar into mostly online. But all of this is truly not possible without this last component. Before we get into that, I just wanted to share with you guys that there is a free 20-minute masterclass that will walk you through the 5 areas that we not only taught to Libby, but to all of the other people who have been through that training, how to grow their clothing brand. This same training is the exact same training we've used, like I mentioned, for Libby. It's also the same training we use use for brands to go to 7-figure months. Whether you're just starting out or you're growing a 7-8-figure brand, it doesn't matter. These 5 principles are key. If you want to go through that training, want to get all of the behind the scenes, no gatekeeping, just check out the link in the description down below and I will share everything I know about how to grow a clothing brand on that link. All right, so number 1 is customer experience, and probably, actually not probably, the most important. So in the online space, specifically in clothing or the boutique world, I do not believe you have a business until you have a repeat customer. Ideally, whichever one you want to go with. Ideally, a minimum of 3 purchases on average. What Libby has done really well is care for her customers. Great customer service, great return policy, the packaging is top notch, sharing insight into what they are buying and getting feedback from current customers and listening to their needs. Literally, they would go live at Market, which has horrible service, and show them, these are what we're thinking. Which ones do you guys like? They'll get feedback, they'll vote, and then they'll buy those for the customers. It's literally setting the customers up, making them a part of the story. Just small tweaks like that really helps your customers know that you care. They ask questions to get to know their audience every single day. Every single day, they're asking a question to better understand their customers. It could be completely unrelated. Something about their favorite actor, their favorite food, their favorite holiday. All these little things, they're trying to get to know their customers. And every single first-time customer gets a handwritten note thanking them for the things that they purchased and the mission that they are on. If you're thinking,
dang, that is a lot of hard work.
You're right, absolutely. But multi-7-figure brands are not just popping up by accident. They are built on these foundations. And if you have a solid foundation and want to accelerate your growth, just like Libby did, I want you to watch this video right here on Instagram ads to help you take your business to that next level by magnifying what's already working. P.S. Hey, make sure that you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our new content. We drop this every single week. All right, you guys, have a great rest of your day and we'll see you next time.